everybody. Thank you very much for stopping by the Bob Dodd Show once again. Today, I have a really special guest, a friend of mine from the film industry. I'd like to introduce Tazi Starfire.
What's up, Bob?
Dude, thank you so much for coming in, man. I appreciate it. You know, when you sent that text message out that, you know, Jack and Ava is like out and like, you can get it. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, I wonder if he would want to come on and talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, man, you're a real life film person. Like, not only do you know how to, I don't know, light, grip, do all the fun stuff that behind the scenes that a lot of people don't get to see.
Yeah.
But, man, you make something that people can see.
Yeah.
And I want to just let everybody know this is a really cool movie. I had the opportunity to watch it. I got my copy, and Jack and Ava, you guys got to check it out.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it if everybody checked it out.
Yeah.
I'd make more money off of it if it does
Right?
as well. Everybody makes more money off of it if it does well.
Yeah, but like you made a good product.
Thank you.
I mean, like, unfortunately, in the film industry, we got to talk about what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, besides being like actual interesting art, it's a product.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's an enjoyable product.
Yeah. It took a long time to make.
Yeah. From start to finish, like, how did that? Or actually, hold on. Give us an introductory to your life first. That way, the folks out there can get to know you a little bit before we talk about this awesome project.
Well, my name's very strange, and it comes with like a strange background. So I grew up in foster care in Bakersfield, California, and then I was adopted when I was 17. So I have a family now. I'm not just an orphan. But I've always wanted to make movies ever since I was really young. I got started acting. It was something that gave me a lot of attention. You know, I was pretty good at it, other people said, so I loved the attention of it, and then fell in love with the story aspect of it and just telling the stories. So I was chasing that my whole childhood while going through, you know, super traumatic experiences in foster care. Like, it was not a fun environment for me, but you know, I made it through all of that stuff and promised to myself that if I got through all of it, that I would be making movies for the rest of my life, and I wasn't going to quit. And that's how you fail, is you quit.
Yeah.
And so I had some opportunities to build some stuff, build some infrastructure so that I can kind of own and operate my own things that would allow me to create IP of my own. Original IP, but
that's intellectual property, right?
Yeah, intellectual
for folks
property.
A lot of people. I have a mixed bag of like people who watch. A lot of people from construction, a lot of people from film. So,
So like Spider-Man's IP.
Yeah,
you know, all of Marvel is just it's a company full of IP, which is just intellectual property. So like Jack and Ava is IP that we own and operate, and we can do spinoffs if we wanted to, or anything like that, because we own and operate the IP. So I was building infrastructure back in 2019 when I moved here to build some stages. There's a huge boom with the infrastructure in the Atlanta area, like a lot of stages and rental houses, and you know, just all the things that support the process of making a film or television show. I had the opportunity to build that kind of stuff. Yeah. Specifically stages where we could rent out and also use the spaces for our own things. Then COVID hit, and then everybody pulled their money out and didn't want to do anything, and so I had to start from scratch. And then had the opportunity to make my own feature film, but I didn't want to ruin that as my first project, because it's very difficult to find funding as your first project. But I had buddies of mine, Isaac Lee and Michael Pollard, and they make up the Easy Brothers, and they had made a bunch of short films, and you know, they filmed a bunch of scenes before that I had seen that I really liked, and I basically went to them with my buddy Justin, who's my best friend, and was a producing partner with me on this. And I said, basically, why are we asking Hollywood for permission? Let's just make it ourselves, you know, let's write a movie and produce it, find the funding, distribute it, all of the things by ourselves. And, you know, it was going to be a long, dreary, you know, painful process, figuring all of that stuff out, because it's not like they teach you that in film school, and I didn't go to film school.
Yeah, like for folks, and continue to go to film school, because you learn something.
A lot
there.
of networks there. You meet a lot of people there that you'll probably work with forever.
Yeah. But like when when COVID hit, and you had obviously things shut down, and that basically perseverance to just like, I'm not going to stop. Right.
Yeah.
And you said something that I always say, like, if you quit, you fail. So
Yeah.
if you don't quit, you haven't failed yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
keep trying.
Yeah. Like, so you teamed up with these guys, and shout out to the Easy Brothers. You guys did a great project here. I watched it with my wife, and, we're sitting there, we're watching the movie, and I just sat there and was like, oh, dude, this is a real movie. Because when you say, hey, my buddy made something, whether if it's a skit or not, it looks college. It looks, I understand technology has maybe finally came up enough where, things can look nice now, especially with all the different equipment that's out there now.
Yeah.
And, obviously all the editing programs can make your crap look decent.
Yeah.
But, dude, everything down to like even the actors,
hidden gems.
Yeah.
Hidden gems.
Like they look like, they were the part. Like there wasn't a second where it's like they're, cause like they're good looking people, but at the same time it's like, oh, they're not that good looking because how they were dressed and how they looked and everything. Like you were able to come down into the visual, and I dug that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
huge compliment.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? So like I'm from the film world, and it's easy for someone from the film world to pick out things and say, oh, this was not right, or this
criticize it.
Yeah, and criticize it. Anybody,
which is fine. Also, I mean, it's our first project, and it's going to be criticized. We've gotten some bad reviews, but we've gotten also a lot of good reviews.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it, but also, you're going to get those bad apples in there that don't like it.
Well, here's the thing.
And that's okay.
The bad app, like this is, I came across this on when I worked on Electric State, so everyone was like, oh, Bob, you worked on Electric State, man. Oh, that thing wasn't that good. And it was just a big money spend. And I was like, no, dude, like people are going to turn around and look at that and actually see what it was for. And once the hype dies down, like this project,
have an appreciation for it. Yeah.
This project here, I was like, I want to do that. As a filmmaker, it's just like, oh man, I would like to do that. Like I would like to get my friends. I mean, we have so many talented friends, that we could pull from. Like
lots of people. Yeah.
Why not expand our network and come together with the, big Hollywood production, wanting to control everything.
Yeah.
Like there's no way building packages for small movies and Netflix. They're not going to do that. They're going to just say, this is what we're doing for you. And, what are you going to do about it? You're going to put it on YouTube?
Yeah.
So
it's difficult to get in those rooms too.
Yeah.
So they can see it. I mean, there was a lot of roadblocks just with Jack and Ava, because that was the original distribution plan, was to sell direct to streamer. We weren't even going to go the festival route or anything like that.
Yeah. Now, would you lease it or sell it?
We would have sold it outright if we could, because I mean it's a small project. It's $150,000 production budget. We had $20,000 for post production, and with that we were like, well, if we could sell this for $1 million outright, they can own it forever, and it doesn't matter. Like we've returned on investment, and everybody got a piece of that.
Yeah.
Well, getting in the room for Netflix to see it is very difficult. You have to have somebody kind of vouch on your behalf so they even take the time to look at it. So there's all of these roadblocks within that don't allow for indie films, true indie films that aren't backed by a studio or a big indie studio like, A24 or Neon. There's a lot of roadblocks to get in, which is very frustrating because nobody told me that going into this. I had a buddy who sold an indie movie to Netflix for like $10 million at the time when we made this in 22. And that was because they were trying to fill their backlog from COVID and the strikes and stuff. All of the lulls that happened within the industry at that time. But they won't even look at the project if there's not somebody on, on that side. And so I had actually reached out to a producer friend of mine on Instagram, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And we kind of sparked up a storm, and we've talked about doing projects together and stuff. And so I reached out to him and see if he knew anybody who would want to buy this or sell it, for me. And we met with Glenn Reynolds, who has sold movies forever. We actually, this is a long story, but I'll tell it if you're interested.
Yeah, well, tell it, because like here's the thing. This podcast is a hangout podcast.
Yeah.
And we're hanging out, bro.
Yeah.
This is long form. I mean, if it's 3 hours long, it's 3 hours long. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us, man. Divulge.
Okay.
What's up?
So Michael Pollard, the director, he had a buddy, Chadwick is his name, who runs the Da Vinci International Film Festival. And we didn't know this at the time, but we had finished the cut of the film, and we wanted him to watch it and just give notes on it because we knew he was in the industry and up in Canada and wherever. But we didn't know he ran this festival, and he had reached back out and said, all right, you're in. And we're like, what are we in for? What are you talking about? Like, we wanted notes. And he's like, you're in my festival. I was like, oh, you ran a festival, And so we went to the Da Vinci International Film Festival and won the whole thing, going against like international films that had way bigger budgets than us.
Yeah.
So that was really encouraging. But I used that as an opportunity to meet with Glenn himself in LA and talk to him about basically helping us sell this movie. And so he came out on, and I guess his title is more like a producer's, consultation kind of role, where he reaches out to people that he's worked with forever, and he sells the projects on our behalf. And so he reached out to all of the bigwigs, and they all said no, because the reason why though is because there's no A-listers in the movie.
Yeah.
Dion Smith, who plays, I can't remember his name. Hold on. It's not on here. He plays Will. In the show, and he was on Outer Banks and a bunch of other, like the George Foreman movie, and he's been in things, but he's not, an A-lister.
Sure.
Ava is played by Alicia Herbert, who's an Australian model, and she doesn't really have a lot of acting credits. So like,
she had a lot of good accents.
A lot of good people, like really talented hidden gems that the industry hasn't really given the light of day or given their due. Because they're talented, but they, they're working towards it, right? And so this is like their first bigger feature film.
Yeah, they're finally breaking the ice.
Yeah, they're breaking the ice. And now that this is out, my hope is that they actually get some recognition for their parts, that their abilities. And the industry basically said no to the movie because there's no A-listers in there that they could put on the poster and say, hey, watch this movie on a streaming service or whatever, because that's really what they go for. That's fine and dandy. Now we don't have to sell the IP outright, and we can make money on this movie for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Right. So that's okay. But we had a few offers from distributors, and they're aggregators. So they take it in a ton of projects, and then they distribute them everywhere on VOD platforms. So, you buy or rent it on
That's
all
video on demand, guys.
Yeah, VOD, video on demand. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'll do that a lot.
Like all my other producer friends, you sound military when you say all these letters and stuff. But yeah, if you need a refill on water, we have water at your feet down there at the corner, just so you know, bottled water. Awesome. But yeah, like
fancy.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but like, not only, I mean, like there's even some like kind of like hard obstacles even to break in the independent side of film stuff too, even like because like a lot of times it's like pay to play.
Yeah.
If you want your stuff in a festival, if you want your stuff even to be viewed by peers.
Yeah.
In
a lot of times
manner.
To get into like a real festival that's actually going to do numbers and you'll get recognition is you have to know a programmer at the festival. So like you have to know somebody who's putting together TIFF's program, their schedule, what's actually playing and all of that stuff. And those are the people that you really need to know to be able to get into those bigger festivals, or you need to have a big name attached to it. Like there's a lot of indie movies out there, quote unquote, that are, $10 million plus, and they get into TIFF or, Sundance or South by Southwest, and there's, Shia LaBeouf in it, or somebody of that caliber that has that name recognition, that face recognition, that, you can't get into it that's at this level. Like, it's just, it's near impossible, it's not impossible, but it's near impossible because you have to know those people and you have to have those connections, So that being said, like, us going to this festival was kind of just like a little bonus, to the whole experience, that we won the whole thing and got we're an award-winning, film now, which is
award-winning independent film.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. But it doesn't, but I mean, those things are cool, but those accolades are cool, but they don't really get you anything in return besides clout, So that's why I didn't want to go towards the festival route, is because it wasn't going to get us winning that festival didn't get us a sale.
Yeah.
Or any connections besides, like, the connections that I made that were important, which was to meet Glenn, was outside of the festival entirely.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even know we were going to the festival kind of deal. I didn't tell him until after the fact when we won, but those things those things are like, if you go to the Atlanta Film Festival or all of these smaller festivals that aren't TIFF and on a national scale or a global scale, then you'll get recognition at those ones, but these smaller ones, you don't really get that recognition that you need to, as a business. If you're looking at it from a business side, you're not going to get that recognition on the business side to make sales. And the numbers on Jack and Ava right now, we haven't seen any of the analytics as to how many pre-sales we had or anything like that. The numbers are still behind. The Freestyles, they have their own program, which is our aggregator, who's doing the video on demand sales, and then for 6 months, and then after that 6 months, we'll go back to the streamers and see if it's time, because a lot of it's a timing thing too, whether or not these platforms want to give you an exclusive for 6 months, a year, or whatever. Which Freestyle will handle all of those negotiating details, and we get to approve everything. But those things happen, or they don't happen, and then you're left with what you have, and then you have to make do with what you have. So after that 6 months, if everybody says no still, which is expected, but hopefully not, hopefully it's the right time, and we get an exclusive MG, which is a minimum guarantee. Then minimum guarantee basically is a lump sum of money so that you can so that they license it from you for a year or 6 months, like I said, from Netflix, say. Where if none of that happens, if we don't get any MGs, then we'll go straight to AVOD, which is advertising video on demand, which will give us a lot more reach, because we'll go on like Tubi and all of the other big, Pluto and all of those TV kind of advertised platforms. Which we'll probably make a lot more money on those than we would VOD, because it's kind of ridiculous. But there's a lot of people who say they want to watch indie movies, but they don't ever actually put the money in, like, to watch these indie movies,
Is there a platform like Amazon or Netflix that is solely just for indie movies?
No, not really. No.
There should be.
There are smaller platforms that I've found, but nothing of the scale to where, that's their entire library is indie movies that are of this size. And to find, it is a very rare case that we're able to do this movie in terms of like the production quality that we were able to achieve. That's very rare on the indie stage. I have a lot of friends who make indie movies that I've made. I've made those friends throughout this process. Well, their movie doesn't. It is no shade to them. It just doesn't look as good as our movie. Which is probably why we won that festival. Because we're going up against indie movies plus, international movies with huge budgets, but all of these movies, they just spend their money on the wrong things.
Your DP, right? So he was
Eric Dodson.
Yeah. So I think if he had a vision, I mean, like, I think when someone is, my camera friends, please correct me on this, comment down below. but your film has the right amount of grit and blur and clarity all in the right spots.
Yeah.
Where
kind of matches reality. It's that realistic kind of like when you're living in that situation, the camera is supposed to be a character in that. And so the goal I expected was to be in that realm of reality where the camera is reflective of what a natural eye would see. I love that a lot better, the contrast in that, versus a lot of the stuff that comes out now that's really blown out and commercialized.
But yeah, I mean, your aerial shots were smooth and very clean.
Thank you.
Man, it's just like, I don't know,
shout out to the drone operator, Sean.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know what he used. I don't know if it was like DJI Maverick
It
Pro.
was a Mavic with the Hasselblad.
Yeah.
Version.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The expensive one.
Yeah, it was expensive.
Yeah. But it's just like, dude, you guys nailed it.
Thank you.
I mean, some of the scenes, I was like, okay, I know this costs a lot, or okay. Because I'm looking at it because like, oh man, Tazi, paid for this, and I was gonna guess how much it costs, but you told me already, so I was over budget.
What was your guess?
I was like, man, this has got to be like 400 or something.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, 350, 400. I mean, like these people are really acting well. Like they're like they're acting, and number one, it's just like they're like, once again, they're good looking people, like dirtied down a little bit to make them look relatable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I think he bought real actors. Yeah. And I had to cost a lot of money. He bought real actors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't cost a lot of money because these people aren't really well known.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, still, I mean, like even if you're giving them a few $100 a day, it's like,
yeah. I mean, I think we paid them, to be honest, we paid them $150 a day.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot of money. They deserve a lot more.
Yeah.
But we also incentivize them with a 10% tier structure. So there's 3 tiers in the 10% pool that all of the actors share, and then same thing with the crew.
Yeah.
And they're all weighted to how many days you worked, and there's different requirements for different. For the cast and crew, there's different requirements.
Was that like a normal blueprint that you picked up from somewhere else, or is this something you designed to entice people?
So I first had a dream to build my own production studio that owns all of the infrastructure and owns all of the IP. And with that, I over the years, I was 12 when I had that dream. Just what I want it to be called, but don't take that idea because it's not out yet.
I'll beep it.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it is basically a studio that owns all of the infrastructure, does all of the IP and all of that kind of thing, right? Well, within that, it's old Hollywood is the business model in a way where ideally, eventually we would have everybody on payroll, all the casting, or all of the crew would be on payroll. We'd have our own story team that would be, writing all the time. And we would do 9 months out of the year, we would be working. And then 3 months out of the year, we'd be on vacation, still getting paid on salary. I've talked to a lot of people in the industry and they would love this kind of concept, love this because it's so, our industry right now is so hit or miss if you're going to get work. And there's a lot of talented people out there out of work just because of the nature of the market right now. Everybody's overseas a lot of the times. So like, because I have a lot of this flushed out already, and I've been pitching a lot of different investors over the years, that tier system I kind of created myself. And Jack and Ava was like the testing ground for see if that is even legally possible. Cause there's like different laws and regulations to where somebody can be an investor or they are in a profit sharing situation, which is not like an upfront investment from somebody who doesn't have, a certain dollar amount net worth or, in assets or whatever. There's a lot of legal jumbo mumbo that goes with that. But, yeah, so like currently as it stands right now is they're in the cast and crew are in a 10% that is put off to the side to them each. So 20% total that is weighted, and they're in they have a profit sharing agreement based on their shares after the fact. So we can't, because of the nature of Jack and Ava and, we're bringing people on kind of last minute, like Glenn or whoever that shares a piece of, he has got 5%. So, which is very, very rare for like a sales agent, somebody who's going to,
Yeah. Is it normally like 15 or 20 or something?
It depends on who it is, but
Okay.
Glenn's a really good dude. And so he didn't charge us that much. But we had to pay him up front, $4,500 or something like that, to kind of get the ball rolling on things. And so that's where, and he does a lot. He makes a lot of money doing that. He's made a career doing that. But he is, over time, I expect he has changed his numbers to reflect what project he's working on. And so I'm glad he saw value in it, or else we probably wouldn't have sold this movie. It's just, there's so many roadblocks without somebody.
The guy too.
Yeah. But there's so many roadblocks to where if we didn't have somebody like Glenn, right, we would have never sold this. Like this movie would have never been out.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have that middleman to be, to advocate on our behalf that this is a good movie.
It's like that in rock and roll too.
Yeah, I bet.
It's weird because like I sit there and think to myself, these roadblocks are set up for a reason, and I think that is because the people in the industry don't want it flooded.
Yeah.
Because like if you
completely oversaturated.
Yeah, then how are you going to see anything?
Yeah.
So like, I think it's naturally set up that way.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing though.
It's not a good thing.
No.
But
because I want to be able to pick and choose myself.
Yeah.
If somebody is willing to, garner an investment to make a movie, I want to have the choice to say, I want to watch this movie or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
in the art world, like, that's where that makes sense.
Yeah.
But think about it, when you're really trying to pitch something, right? You get a 4,500 roofers in one, city, and all of a sudden it's like now so cheap to get your roof, but who's really doing your roof?
Yeah.
To me, it's not good that there's those hurdles.
Yeah.
But it really does allow things to shine and not shine. Because like this is shining, right?
Yeah.
So like you've did something good.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that.
It's able to be seen because other shows aren't there. If there was a whole bunch of different like gritty movies coming out or around it, it's easier for someone to
kind of look it over.
Yeah, look it over. So but I don't know, man, like when you sat there and you were like, "Oh man, we're spending all this money." I can't even imagine what that's like.
It's very stressful.
Yeah. And I can't imagine it's like, it's like, all right, we got this money. I have this coming in. Like I have this worked out the way it is.
Yeah.
I really hope somebody sees it. And now you're sitting here on my podcast and it's just like, you have to feel so elated. Like it feels good, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're not out of the woods yet, I guess.
It feels good that it's over with.
Yeah.
Like I'm, at the very least, I'm excited for the investors to make their money back.
Yeah.
Because they get 20% return on their investment and then everybody else starts making their money. So I'm really hoping everybody gets something out of it financially. But the fact that it's out, we can point to it and be like, hey, this is something we can do on a grander scale. Like, my next projects, I want to have an A-lister in it, even if it's just as a cameo,
Sure.
that they could put on the poster. Because that's really all it takes.
Yeah.
I brought up Shia LaBeouf earlier because he's a good example of this. He's done a lot of indie movies. And a lot of these indie movies, he's in it for, a quarter of the movie, maybe. So he's probably there for 2 weeks if it's a, 2-month-long show. And so it's one of those things where it's like you can get one of these actors to come in for cheap, because they're only coming in for a certain amount of days, and then they're back at it doing their own thing. And he's done a lot of those types of movies. So that's somebody that I would probably want to work with that would do that,
He's wacko enough that he would.
Yeah.
You know
exactly.
What I mean? Like, he's like, that's awesome.
And I think he's really talented too. I think that's what it comes down to, right? Like over everything, the audience is going to tell you if they like you or not.
He's in it for the art. Yeah. There's a lot of actors that are in it for the art.
Yeah.
That's, if you,
and there's an appreciation to that,
Yeah.
you know?
Is there a genre that you're going to try to go for, or are you just going to try to do whatever is good, like at the moment for you? Like
My requirements, because I get sent a lot of scripts, even though I'm not really that big at all. But I get sent, like I had an email today with a pitch, you know, but I'm probably not going to look at it because there's nothing I can do about it, you know, as it stands. I have requirements to what I want in terms of like how the story is going to turn out, but I don't have really a genre requirement. Like I'm not just going to make thrillers or just going to make horror movies or just going to make action or whatever. Like I want movies that kind of show redemption that leave me feeling happy, you know, at the end, at least, you know, not despair. Like my life, all my life has kind of sucked, you know, but
wow. Do you want to touch base on that at all? Like, I mean, like, wow.
I mean, it's okay. You know, I grew up and I don't let it affect me day to day, but I don't want to go in a movie and feel like crap afterwards, you know, or feel sad. There's a lot of movies that I appreciate that have sad endings. The Iron Claw, I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's a phenomenal film, and it's about this guy who's a wrestler, and he's got brothers, and he loses his brothers, and it's really, really sad. He's got kids and all this, but I can't watch that movie again because it left me crying.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
I have a hard time with emotional pictures.
Yeah.
When you dive into it, like even something as like,
well, how so? How do you like what gets you?
well, what gets me is the levity of like the situations, you know, because I know so many people. I've been in so many scenarios.
Yeah.
I don't put myself into situations where some of these characters come in, but man, it feels like it could happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're in the film industry. I know so many people with so many different stories that have so many wild lives. Like movies like Big Fish move me.
Yeah.
You know, so like when I'm looking at those movies and I am no longer on planet Earth. I am there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's pretty interesting how much I let go of reality and then I am in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just that when the movie's over, I'm like, oh shit, I'm on my couch.
Yeah.
You know?
You're that engaged.
Yeah.
Which is good, which is how it's supposed to be. You know, like I want to escape into this world that the filmmaker is trying to tell me. And I can't do that if it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of my requirements are it to be grounded in reality to some extent, like Jack and Ava is grounded in reality, and to have like some sort of like redemption arc throughout the entire story. You know, like I really want to see somebody learn something from that. Like my favorite movie of all time is Good Will Hunting.
Okay. Well, yeah, there you go.
Good Will Hunting, like it's a phenomenal. I attach really heavily with Will's character in Good Will Hunting, and that is like to me the emphasis of a really good story and how it was written and told, and the pacing and all of that stuff. You know, I think it's a phenomenal story, and it doesn't leave you with everything. Like you don't know if he's going. I don't want to spoil Good Will Hunting, but if you haven't seen Good Will Hunting, sorry, but like the credits roll with him driving to his girl that he wants, but we don't know what happens after that. I mean, he's taking a chance on life. You know, he's committed to trying, you know, and I love that aspect of it, you know. So I want movies that inspire me in that way, that tell me a story, that tell me this character who has gone through a lot of traumatic issues in situations, and he's trying to achieve this goal or not achieve this goal and just dealing with his issues, and he does at the end. Like I want to see that redemption side of it, you know, and it doesn't need to be, you know, completely it doesn't need to have like a specific agenda behind it. It just needs to be told in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, and there were so many big characters.
Yeah.
Big things to think about during Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, like you could have had, I mean, Matt Damon and was not Was he an A-lister by that time?
No, that was their first like movie.
That was Ben Affleck and his movie, right?
Yeah.
They were able to get Robin Williams, right?
Yeah.
So like the way it was written, everybody, like even the bully in the bar was a big character, right? Because it not only set perspective of what somebody could be, but what somebody really is.
Yeah.
You know, someone who is not smart, but he plagiarized.
Yeah.
And he used other people's intellect to make people think that he was something that he wasn't.
Yeah.
And then the main character was like, sit down, bro. I can remember stuff too.
Yeah.
So a lot of people.
How do you like dim apples?
Yeah. A lot of people want to do that to other people.
Yeah.
You know, like people, especially, you know, in everyday life, in construction, in the film industry, they have this perspective and it's guarded, you know, until it's not, right? Until like you're so sick of the person, whether if they're winning car races, like, oh man, I know I can crush you. And then they finally do it. There's that moment of, they feel elated, right? Like a weight lifted off the shoulders, and the viewers felt the same thing, you know, and that's why those movies impact people so much.
Have you seen About Time?
I have not, no.
Okay, About Time. I cry when that movie is on, like when I watch that movie.
Okay.
So Good Will Hunting, About Time, V for Vendetta, and there's one other movie. Well, it's a show really. I think it's the greatest animated television show of all time.
Okay.
It's called Avatar: Last Airbender. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But I watch these movies in that show every single year because they inspire me so. And About Time is a phenomenal film, and it's a grounded sci-fi film, if you will.
Okay.
The main character has the ability to time travel.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it for you because I do want you to watch this movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to make sci-fi movies, if you will, but that are grounded in reality, kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something that I can relate to personally, and hopefully an audience can relate to. That like, hey, I would be in this situation. And so phenomenal film. You should watch it.
Okay. I'll check it out. Well, I told you the last movie that I watched with my wife, just us alone, was your movie.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And folks, listen, I work in the film industry. I watch YouTube. We watch stuff, but we have 2 children. And very rarely do we separate ourselves from our children. Like we're always doing like the film night, movie night, and watching things that the children can watch. Yeah. So very rarely do we have the opportunity to watch something that a 6-year-old, an 11-year-old, and adults can watch.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we were like, kids, go ahead and watch YouTube. You know, we're going to start watching a movie at 7:00. You guys watch your YouTube shows, and we're going to watch a movie. And we sat down and we watched Jack and Ava, and it was like a date night. It was, I mean, it was like amazing. And it's like, we got to do this more often.
Yeah.
So whatever you think I should watch, I will write it down and watch it.
Yeah.
I promise. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch About Time.
All right.
Beautiful movie.
Okay.
I literally still to this, I've seen this movie for the last 5 years.
Is it beautiful in like a Bridge to Terabithia kind of story? Or?
It's like a bittersweet beauty.
Okay. It sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got this, I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. Don't spoil it.
But if you guys can attest to in the comments, like if you have seen this movie, they should tell you how good it is because it is that good of a movie. I think. Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like once again, I get so into the movies.
Yeah.
You know, people will probably think I'm crazy for this, but did you ever see the comedy Run, Ronnie, Run?
No, I didn't.
Okay. It's David.
Mind you, I'm 28.
Well,
how old is that movie?
It's a couple years old. Yeah. I mean, it's, I think maybe from like 2000 or 99.
Yeah, I was still watching.
Well, check it out. It has, you know, it was written by Bob Odenkirk and David Cross. I don't know if you know those guys.
Run, Donnie, Run.
Run, Donnie, Run.
Okay.
It's a comedy.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, it's so stupid, but I'm still like, that's one of the movies where it's like, holy crap, I'm done watching a movie. And like for a second there, I was in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My humor is that's my humor right there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I just to touch on that,
Yeah.
I think comedy really brings everybody together,
Mm-hmm.
and especially that like ridiculous type of comedy. You know, I have a few comedies that I want to make also, and that's the goal, right? Is like, hey, I want to leave the audience, even though this is a comedy, and you could forget about it, you know, the next day. I want to leave them thinking about it afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, and be so engaged like that to where you're thinking about it on a podcast, talking about a thriller, crime thriller.
Yeah. Like I think that comedies are the hardest thing to write. They're the hardest thing to produce.
Very difficult. Yeah.
You know, when people don't realize when they watch, you know, funny movies, what it took to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many rewrites had to have happened.
A lot of takes.
Yeah. Like, you know, Adam Sandler, you know, although he has a formula, you know, I wonder what was left on the cutting room floor because it was
sure
just
tons.
like, you know.
Yeah.
But, man, so with the projects looking ahead with you, right? You're not going to pigeonhole yourself into just certain types of products.
No.
You just said you wanted to do some comedies. Like,
Yeah.
is there another picture that you're about to work on or it's coming in the future?
Yeah, it's called The Cleaners.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about these two guys who are trying to they're kind of stuck in the world and they don't really know what to do with their lives, and so they end up doing a job for the mob.
Okay.
And then they screw the job up because they screw everything up. And then
well, don't tell the whole story.
I'm not gonna tell the whole story.
Okay.
There's a lot of detail within what I just said that won't be that is gonna be I'm not saying now.
Yeah, yeah.
But they basically go on the run from the mob, and at the end they feel like, you know, I'm not gonna spoil that would be a spoiler if I told you. It's a phenomenal. It's so hilarious. Though.
Okay.
I filmed a scene. Scene 18 is what I'm calling it, and it's the 18th scene in the actual full feature. And we were laughing the entire time just shooting this. We
that's
barely got
hilarious.
it. Like, that's the kind of comedy that I want to make, where I'm having a great time, you know, on set, and it's coming out well, you know, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done to it just because of technical issues and stuff, but those things are getting figured out and I'm ironing those out. But I'm going to use that to pitch the show.
Nice.
The actual feature, which somebody's interested in. So that one is coming next.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really wild. So
to go from like a crime thriller to a comedy, like the amount of stress that I had on Jack and Ava is insane. But to be able to make a comedy where I can laugh on set every day, and be the one in charge of directing it and have being.
So, are you the director for it?
I will direct and produce that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have my writing partner, who is also my producing partner on Jack and Ava. His name's Justin Lawrence. He's a great dude. He's underrated too.
Yeah.
And he wrote the feature with, you know, everything that we talked about and stuff. So he'll be a writer on it too. And we have a great time together just talking about this stuff too. So like being able to work with him as a director and then him being a writer, kind of like quote unquote like director in that instance as well.
You
like
have
we'll be
to
able to
pair
give that
up.
input.
Yeah, you have to pair up. Like a lot of the great shows that we watch, they're duos.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to say they're duos in a sense where, but like there's multiple people that are making the project what it is. Yeah. Yeah. You know?
And I think it really comes down to the environment you create, you know, because sometimes too many cooks in the kitchen can be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the collaborative, you know, nature that can naturally happen on set is what makes these stories actually flourish, you know?
Yeah.
And Justin and I work really well together in that instance. We balance each other out in a lot of stuff when it comes to telling stories. And so having him a part of the projects that I want to do will just make it 10 times better. But, you know, if I'm directing, I have final say on everything, but I'm still going to hear him out. I'm going to hear everybody out.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stories out there of behind the scenes situations where, you know, you're looking at, you know, Adam Sandler or Will Ferrell's stories and stuff like that, and they're talking about some grip who came up who's like, this would be really funny.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
that's happened a lot of times.
I think in most of the behind the scenes things, even like, Harrison Ford, when there was a excerpt of him talking about something on Star Wars, Star Wars.
Yeah.
When he was like, oh, I was thinking about doing this, and one of the carpenters said to do this, and he was a carpenter, so he was like, oh, that makes sense, so he did it.
Yeah.
So it's like those things. It's amazing how much your environment helps you accomplish something.
Yeah, I agree.
That is why, like shows like Ozark was, I think, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so big and so sweet.
Yeah.
You made a comment. We talked about how like, oh man, everyone talks about how, Ozark was where it was at. It's like, yeah, it was, man, because, like Laura Linney sang a cappella to me the Mr. Rogers Show in front of everybody because she found out I was from Pittsburgh.
That's hilarious.
So she's singing Mr. Rogers' theme song to me, and I'm like, oh, that was so great. She was like, you don't know. And I'm like, what? And she goes, my first 6 projects that I ever done were in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, oh man, because she was in Broadway and stuff. She did a lot of like a lot of those kind of shows.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that about her, you know?
Yeah.
And then here I am, I'm looking around, and there was like 6, 7 people or 8 people around us while we're, at the Lake Lanier, and she's singing me Mr. Rogers, It's like,
I've heard so many good stories from Ozark sets. It's insane.
I want to have Landon on here so bad, but he's hesitant for some reason,
Is he?
Yeah, Tyler, I want him to come on. I had so many people come on already that worked on Ozark with us.
Yeah.
But, those guys, just to get their take on it,
Yeah.
Landon had to sit there, in the tent with all the adults.
Maybe that's why he doesn't want to come on.
No.
I'm kidding.
He has great stories.
He's got phenomenal stories about the entire experience. Yeah. And the stuff that he's told me has been mind blowing. It's like, I can't wait to work on a show like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing
or
too.
Create that show.
Well, here's the thing. Landon and Tyler help develop that atmosphere for shows.
Oh, 100%.
So, I'm old Gripolotopus crew. There's a new Gripolotopus crew out there, and shout out to those boys, because if you're working with Landon and Tyler, man, I know you're good dudes.
Yeah.
So, with the old Gripolotopus thing, we were, in the Atlanta world, people, I don't want to say knew of us, but they knew Ozark was a hard-hitting grip killer show.
Yeah.
And we were able to perform. Dude, we've had standing ovations, when we had a whole house tented, and they were like, you got 2.5 hours to get this detented. Yeah. And we're like, oh, okay. We did it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And shout out to the sound guy, Jared. He would just go like this.
What show was this?
Ozark.
Oh, was it Ozark?
Yeah, Jared, the sound guy, would start the slow clap, and then all of a sudden, everyone would be like, And someone may have said this. I don't know if they said it out loud or if I'm just making this up in my head, but I could have swore someone was like, "Oh, that just saved us $80,000."
Yeah.
And it was just like, "Oh, wow, that's crazy," But everyone was so happy because they, we were trying to get some stuff done.
Yeah.
And dude, they were like, you need to get this done in 2.5 hours. And Pete and Austin and all the rigging Americans that were there, they're like, dude, let's crush it out, dude. We all crushed it out in 15, 20 minutes, and we're ready to go again.
And the way you're able to do that is those guys all have the experience and have probably been in that situation before and learned from the mistakes that they made on other shows. And that's why it's really important that you work with people who have the experience and you can vibe with and have a good time with at the same time. Because those guys, I've worked with lots of grip crews in town, and those are the best grips that I have worked with.
Yeah.
I worked on Class of '09. That's where I met Landon and Tyler. And then I went to Manhunt in Savannah and worked on that with them. And then we came back and did Neighbors here. And then we did the reshoots. And it's just, I wouldn't want to work with another grip crew.
Oh, yeah.
Besides them, not to pigeonhole myself if there's work out there, but they're the best in Atlanta.
There's a lot of great crews in Atlanta.
Yeah.
There's a handful of crews that you could say that about in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But because we know Landon and Tyler, it's so easy for us to just say that.
Well, I think it's because we have a really good relationship with them too.
Yeah.
Like we are able to sit down and have a beer with them afterwards.
Oh, dude,
you know what I mean?
There's nothing like hearing Landon describe to a makeup artist why they shouldn't be using the makeup that they were using. And the makeup artist was like, like, how do you know that much about makeup?
Yeah.
And Landon's like, well, you know. It's like Landon knows a lot about a lot.
Yeah.
Like he is a DP wearing a key grip hat.
100%.
So like lighting is, I don't know. I don't want to say it's second nature or first nature to Landon, but I've seen him talk.
Well, grips, they work with all of the departments.
Yeah.
They're production support in that regard, where they are involved in the details of camera, of electric, of production, of makeup, like all of it. They are involved in, like, their hands in all of it.
Yeah.
And there's such an undervalued department, like a lot of indie movies forget to pay for a grip side, and they pay for a G&E side, and they've hired electricians.
You know what though? You always hear about the actors talking about the grips, never the electricians. You know, like the hardworking guys, the grips. Because like I watch a lot of Joe Rogan, and I watch a lot of other podcasts, and when the actors talk, they say grips. They might be thinking about electricians, I don't know, but like they say grips. They're like, oh yeah. Like when I tell somebody I was a grip, they're like, what's that?
Yeah. No, the general audience does not know who that is. What a grip does. Because the word grip is such a, it's a nonchalant type of term. You know, when you say electrician, electricity. Where grip is like, well, because we do everything within every other department.
There's a term, get a grip, man. Get a grip.
Get a grip.
Get a grip on it.
Yeah. And that's what makes, this one I think stand out. And because I have grip experience, I looked for this too. But what I've noticed on indie movies is there's no contrast in the image because there's no grip work done, right? And so they're just blowing a light in one direction and it's not shaped or anything like that, right? Where like this was important to have a real grip on the job that was able to take that light that the electrician put up and shape it to where it looks cinematic and it looked natural, so that has a lot to do with it. And a lot of that has to do with the DP as well. He's very experienced in smaller skeleton crews to be able to work within that.
Shout out to the good DPs out there. Cause I tell you what, continuity is everything. That sun's forever moving.
Yeah.
And, we're always chasing the sun, and, if you're working inside, that's cool. But a lot of this was shot outside.
Almost all of it was shot outside. Yeah.
So
or inside with a lot of windows.
Yeah, near my house a little. There's a lot of places near here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, there's where we get my kids' hair done when you guys were in Hogansville. Yeah. Anyway.
We shot everything in Hogansville. We shot some in LaGrange. There was a really cool diner in LaGrange that we shot at. That is super nice people. But I probably spent $400 on locations. In its entirety because all of them really wanted to work with us. They appreciated what we were doing, and they were like, "Hey, as long as we can keep business hours open, we have no problem you shooting here." So a lot of it was just, the community really getting behind a movie being shot in the town that it was being shot in. So shout out to all of them. They were really helpful with us making this thing. Jake Ayers, the mayor of Hogansville, is a good friend of ours, and he basically carte blanche whatever we needed. He's going to help us get to it, and without those types of people, we wouldn't have been able to make the movie at all.
And there's a lot to work with in that area. A lot of different topography. A lot of different looks. So that Hogansville, LaGrange, like that Roberta area, that's like even a little more south. Like you can go from Sandpit to Bel Air kind of mansion kind of down there. So there's a lot of looks that you can afford yourself with down there. You know, I swear, like when people talk about Pittsburgh and filming in Pittsburgh, they're always like why they chose Pittsburgh was because at the nucleus in the city where they're using, maybe for all the B-roll to make the big city feel or whatever, the grit. But 15 minutes away from the city, you got a farm. 15 minutes away from the city, you got suburb. 15 minutes away from the city, you got small town, another small city. So the topography allows it to, them to have rivers, mountains, snow, no snow, like so many different things. And Georgia brings that as well too. Especially the South Georgia area. You got modern looking homes to old country fried steakhouses that just look dilapidated and like worn in for a long time. But it's like, it's amazing how, when you choose a location, how did you come about choosing that location?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of it had to do with what we knew we could get with the budget that we had, right? The first, I told you this already, but the first version of the script was, a $1.2 to $1.5 million movie.
Yeah.
And we just weren't going to get that on our first film.
Yeah.
Right. We were at most going to get $250,000. But we ended up getting $150,000. Right. And so we had to rewrite the script into the confines that we were allotted. We were pitching the script before it was even finished. Right. A lot of people think you need to have the script done, but no, you just need to have a clear vision and clear distribution plan on how the investors are going to make their money back. And that's really what they care about. Yeah. A lot of times they don't care about the story side of things. And so when we were picking the location for it, the first version of the script had that small town feel, right? And so because we know a lot of people in Hogansville and we're friends with a lot of them, just like the mayor and some other people that are kind of growing that town up, that was kind of like a prime location for us because we were going to be able to, like we shot at a bank, we filmed at a bank, and normally it would be very difficult to be able to film inside of a bank in Atlanta. Yeah. Like, no way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. We have money here. No.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's a bank robbery. You know what I mean? So that aspect of it is important, the ability to know you're going to be able to find something in that area was the reason why we were able to shoot there and shoot for as long as we shot. We shot for 20 days. Yeah. And the only real issue with the city of Hogansville is there's not a lot of extra space to house people, like Airbnbs. Like there's a lot of Airbnbs there, but we had to like rent houses for that month to house people in those houses. Yeah. And get beds and all that kind of stuff.
Did you do like the real world thing where it's like, hey, you're actor, Grips, Keys, you're in, I don't know, like upstairs, third floor.
Well, basically what we did was, okay, so for Eric, which is, it was Ollie Panda when it was his company name. Now it's something else. It's like Blueprint Studios or something like that. I can't remember. Maybe it's on here. Maybe it's on this.
Yeah, give him a shout out, man. One of the main things about this podcast that I'm doing is I would say that the mission of the podcast is to put light on amazing people doing amazing things, or cool people doing cool things, or interesting people that are doing interesting things, right? Yeah. So my main mission is to big up everybody around me that's been doing a lot of cool things.
Well, I think it's okay. Yeah, it's Blueprint Films.
Okay.
And it's Eric Dodson's company. So he's the DP on this. I appreciate that. What you're doing here, like willing to just let cool people do cool things and show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't mean to skip over that, but that's a really neat thing to be able to be a part of that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I always found you interesting. I find all the Gripolotopus crew interesting. Some I know better than others, you know, just because of my time period that I was there, right? Yeah. But like if you look at our crew, I mean, like maybe I'm not part of the crew anymore, but I still feel like it because when I get the opportunity to go hang, then I'm out and I'm hanging, which isn't a lot. Yeah. When you have 2 kids and a wife and you work the way we work, it's hard to get places. Yeah. But when you get there, man, it feels so nice to be like, oh, I'm with my people. Yeah. So it's like.
Well, we're all very different people too. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we all come together and hang out and have a good time. Yeah. And there's not a lot of drama really at all because we just hang out, We're just chilling.
All the drama that, that I've seen so far in my experience is like, I got to drive 45 minutes to go to this house. Everyone lives so far away. Yeah. Like if you go out like toward Jordan, if you're going out to Jordan, it's like, man, I really got to think.
I've never been to Jordan's house.
It's an hour and a half drive, dude. I don't know how, I see that's another thing. I live on the far side of everybody too. So I don't know how long it took you to get here.
It took me, cause I live in Peachtree City. So it took me like 30 minutes.
Oh, so you're so close.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to
you. You're close. Okay. Everybody else is like an hour. Like when Mark comes here or whatever, Heath is like the sort of the closest.
Yeah.
You know, but like Mark, it took him like an hour and 15 minutes. It takes like Mike like an hour and 15 minutes.
Because they're in the town.
Yeah. You know, gosh, if Landon did come, I'm sure it's like an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes for him to get here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like we have a lot of people in our network that do a lot of really cool things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had my buddy on, so Ross, he was a baseball player that his dad was a big time grip in Florida.
Okay.
And so like he kind of like when he was retired out of baseball, he was like, I'm going to just go do what I know best, you know, and that's gripping. So he became a grip. Yeah. And he was on my very first podcast. And one of the conversations that I brought up with him was that like, why not get our big pool of people? I'm not saying we're going to be getting a lot of money out of everybody, but our pool of people, like I know cameramen, I know producers, I know directors. Let's get them together and let's start making our projects.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it's just so hard to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show this video to him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Tazi did it.
Yeah.
Tazi was able to do it.
My advice is if you're going to do that, right, which is what I've done, I wouldn't get anything from them besides their talent, right? Everybody's got to put something in. I have connections to investors. I'm sure you know people who have money. You know, there's a lot of people out there with money. You can reach out to people. Like I said, I cold Instagram DM the producer that got me the connection to sell Jack and Ava 10 years ago, right? We've just built a friendship, right? So there's people out there that have the capabilities to finance something, to give capital to something. And so getting all of these people together isn't the hard part. Yeah. It's getting the money to pay them when you actually do the project. Yeah. Right. So it's getting them together on, you know, in agreement with a project that they want to do. And then from that, take that, right, whatever you guys are doing, and say it's a short or a feature or something like that. And I wouldn't be opposed to being a part of it as well. And then we take whatever that idea is, create a pitch, and then go pitch people, you know. And I mean, that's all we did with Jack and Ava. Yeah. You know, it ain't that hard. Yeah. It's just, it's the commitment is, I don't care. Like, we're going to do this until we do it. Yeah. You know, and I don't care if we get told no 1,000 times. We'll get the 1,001 time will be a yes. Yeah. You know, I got told no my whole career, you know, until I stopped taking those no's and then went and did it myself. And then it only took a couple of pitches before money was in the bank. You know?
That's amazing.
So it's just a matter of commitment, I think, is where what it comes down to. Yeah. You know, and it's no shade to anybody because everybody's got to pay their bills, you know, but it's coming together and saying, hey, once we have the money to do this thing, we're committed to doing it. Yeah. Right. And so we'll come together and then disperse, you know, so everybody can still go do their own thing. And then now we're going to set up a few people to go find this pitch, like to go do the pitches, get the money in the bank, set up an LLC, all of the things, and then actually create it eventually, you know, but actually create it eventually. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people who say they're going to do it and then they end up not doing it at all. Well, I have a lot of friends like that.
And you do get so far. If there's some like even when they say they're going to do it, they get to a certain point and they're almost about there. Yeah. And something hits them and stalemates them or stops them. Yeah. You know, so, you know, I want to use the talents that all of our friends have. Yeah. You know, bring the Landon in, bring Tyler in, bring Heath, Mark, Dave, all these people that have all these great talents. And man, I can't even tell you, like, all of our friends, man, are such nice people. That you want to be around them. Yeah. Yeah. So not only are you going to be able to get the talented people, but you know that it's not going to be hard to like what you're doing because the people that are there are people that you trust and want to be with. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know how that happens in a lot of circles, you know, like, you know, because some people fall in and some people fall out, or some people are sort of part of the group and then you don't see them. Like, I'm like that person that's like, I'm part of the group, but you don't see me a lot, you know? And, you know, then you have your Heath is probably I don't want to say that he's like he's the main point, because most of the times when I'm getting up, it's at his house, like it's going to his house and seeing everybody. But like convincing everybody to just get on board and try to do it, I think is harder than getting the money.
Yeah, a lot of the time. Yeah.
You know, like
but that's the commitment part of it, right? Is like people want that like assurance. I don't know if that's the right word, but that security, which we never have in this industry, mind you. But it's the, hey, once we get the money, then we'll do this thing, right? And we'll set a time then. We'll schedule it to do it then, right? So whenever, as long as we've all agreed and I could put everybody in a deck saying I have all of these talented people, and then we end up taking that and then making a deck out of it and then going and pitching it. Everybody, that could be a year, that could be 2 years, it could be however long.
Yeah.
But we've still committed to doing this thing like what's it? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's been a while since I've written one. There's a certain document. It's a certain document that basically says once this happens, I'll do it. It's, you know what I mean? And so it's basically that. You put together that, and it's not legally binding or anything. It's just like, hey, I've committed verbally to doing this thing. And then you go and, you go find the money and you do it eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had a lot of that with Jack and Ava at the beginning, right? Because we were writing the scripts and stuff, and I'm calling people to be like, "Hey, would you want to be a part of this thing?" And they're writing. I can't think of the document right now. It's like a.
It's okay. Like it's like a promise ring.
It's a letter of intent. That's what it's called.
Letter of intent.
Letter of intent. Right. So we're intending to do this thing, right? Together once all of these requirements are met, right? Once the money's in the bank. Once we have the LLC set up, once we, all of the good stuff, and then you go and you do it. Once you get all of those things done,
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to with just about everybody on the project,
Yeah. I find that really, really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for starters, for you to go through every moment and every step to building a movie, you have this blueprint in your head or this idea better than other people do,
Yeah.
Would you be able to break down from start to finish how a production like that gets up and going, then starts and goes?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically you have to start with a script, right? And this script could be anything, literally anything.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of like creativity. It could be whatever you want. And then from there you find the key peoples that are going to spearhead it, right? And so you get those people together, and that's the Easy Brothers, me and Justin. These are the key 4 people that are going to spearhead the entire project all the way through to the end. And then you have to create an LLC with those people in mind, and then you negotiate deals based on what percentages they want in ownership of the company, yada, yada, yada. And so you do that. And then you create a pitch that you all agree on. Talk about the details of how we're going to make the investors their money back, and how we're actually distributing it from a line to line item. Like, what is our distribution plan year to year kind of situation, right? Or if we're going to own this thing outright, are we going through a festival route? Then production needs to be kind of here, or post-production needs to be finished by here so we can submit to festivals. All of those little details need to be kind of ironed out before you even pitch somebody. And then you put together the pitch, and if you have contacts in the industry that have connections to capital, then you reach out to them and say, hey, can we set up a face meeting, like one-on-one, not over FaceTime or Zoom or anything like that. It doesn't really, there's a barrier there that I don't like. So you go and you sit down with them and you have dinner maybe, and then you go and you pitch, or you have lunch and then you pitch, or you pitch and then you have lunch or whatever, but you kind of wine and dine those people. You pay for everything. And then you basically give them, and you tell them what your ask is, and they'll tell you pretty quickly if it's something for them or not.
Yeah.
So I typically lead with it because I don't want to waste time, or effort, because I'm going to be pitching 100 people. And so you pitch those people, and then once somebody says yes, you don't stop until somebody says yes, right? You keep going until somebody says yes. Once you get that first yes, now you can snowball that if it's not enough. Like our first investment was $50,000, but we still needed 100 at least to do it. So we needed 150 at least at the bare minimum. It would have been a smoother project if we had 250, but you know, we can do it with 150.
Yeah.
And so when it came down to we pitched a couple more people, and then one of them said yes for the extra 100. And then that we had our dollar amount, and the writers didn't want to write anymore. And so they were like, let's just do it now.
Yeah.
And so we scheduled it, right? We scheduled out all of the days. We picked our days, and then we started asking people for availability. And then from there, from availability, we went and shot it, you know, by having the entire crew. We had a couple of people that weren't able to fit within that availability, so we just asked somebody else. You know, it's not hard to find these types of people to do the thing.
Yeah.
I've had connections with, you know, Eric for a long time, a lot longer than Jack and Ava. And I knew he was able to do it because it fit the requirement that we were looking for. He owns a mini LF, and we wanted to shoot on anamorphics. And so we had connections to anamorphics. And so you just solve one problem at a time based on the requirements that what they want. And then throughout the pre-production process, you know, I recommend shot listing the entire thing. And we had set up with the crew before that we were only going to shoot for at least 8 hours a day and try to stick to just 8 hours a day. And so there was one day we went to 10 and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was our longest day. But we were going to put everybody up and all of that stuff. We had a Penske truck. We had a PO, which is a production office. We had all of the things that we needed to make the thing happen. We just had to solve one problem at a time. And that's what makes a producer different than somebody who's not a producer. You know, you just solve the problem. Like I was staying up to like 3 a.m. in the morning solving problems, you know. We had a child actor. Like there's a lot of legality that comes with that. Yeah. You know, we had somebody who didn't have a visa. Like Alicia didn't have her acting visa at the time. And so we had to figure all of that stuff out. Yeah. You know, Casey Affleck actually wrote in so that Alicia could be on the project to the actual visa office or whoever, immigration office. So like all of these problems just kept arising. You just keep solving them as you go, and you do it as fast as you can, and you don't stop until it's done, you know? Yeah. And then post-production is a whole nother beast, you know, that comes with like who's going to actually be editing this thing. Like Who
did edit it?
Isaac edited it.
Isaac edited it. Okay.
The guy who plays Jack. But he probably shouldn't have been the one doing it because he's so close to the project, right? So you need I recommend, this is just something that I learned, I recommend having somebody not as close to the project. Yeah. And who is an actor.
Multifaceted though. He acted.
He's very, very multifaceted.
Damn, that's so cool.
Very, very, I mean, he wrote it, he directed.
Is he from around here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's from the Puget City area.
Okay.
But I recommend having an editor outside of the project. Yeah. They could be on set, you know, during the production, which would be very useful. But having gone through that emotional toll of acting and pretty dramatic character for a month, you know, and then living in that space for so long, and then maybe not, like, you're never going to get exactly what you wanted from the get-go. Nobody ever does. You know, it's very difficult to get that.
That's one of the things, like when you have when you have a crew, what you're talking about is having somebody that didn't have the emotion tied to the roles. Yeah. Because like when you look at it from...
Well, not just the roles, but the actual, like, this is my baby.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, like, you're really putting
that
the trust.
person should be, I think, in a supervising role over somebody.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when you're sitting there doing all of the technical work that is editing, as you've kind of experienced doing this, you know, it's like, you know, it's very minute and detail oriented, and there's a lot to it. And it's like, am I even doing this? Like, there's that self-doubt that comes into it. This isn't looking how I exactly wanted it to look from when I was writing the script, which is never going to do that. Your imagination's not going to be the same as how it's going to come out on camera.
Well, when you're editing, you're making the visual breathe. Yeah. So you're inhaling and exhaling every moment you're editing. Yeah. So like, one moment where you're seeing a head turn, like that's in your brain, like they're turning there, and then like how do I switch it, like where is a clean transition, how how sharp do you want it, how soft do you want it to move. So like when you're editing that way in like a cinematic way, I would think if you're tied to the character, what the emotion and the feel is supposed to look like, maybe. But as an overseer, it makes a little more sense because.
Well, plus your brain is rested. As an overseer.
Yeah.
You haven't sat down in the minute and dealt with it. Like, to be completely frank, our first cut of the film wasn't good because, he had just got off of production and then gone through some personal stuff. And then now he's editing this movie that needs to be done. And the goal was to get it done, like the edit. My deadline was 6 months after production. Like that was the most I wanted to go.
That's so quick.
It's quick, but that's just the final cut. That's not sound and finish, all of that stuff. That's just,
just the cut.
The cut of it. Because ideally your first cut is just the script.
Yeah, the frame.
Yeah. It's just what's in the script. Here's how everything cuts together. And then now we're going to tweak it and make it look good. And then we'll finish it, with color and sound and, music and all of that other stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing. The way you painted the music is good.
Yeah, he wrote the music too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, see, multifaceted.
See, he's very talented. Yeah.
Because like I think that it fit. I was like, all right, like when you're sitting there thinking of a movie, right, and you're thinking of, I look at it just musically. I mean, it's a beat.
Yeah.
Your movie has a beat. Right?
It controls the pacing a lot of the times. It kind of hides some of the flaws that you got in camera, because you're moving to the beat, you're pacing to it. And I'm pretty sure he wrote after the fact. So after it, in this, I could be completely wrong. And Isaac, if you watch this, you can correct me in the comments. But the edit was done first, and then he wrote the music to match, possibly.
Yeah, but I mean, he captured whoever did your sound captured the atmosphere, sounds, and all the things.
He did all of the sound.
Yeah, I thought it was done like great, like primo. Like for a person who's seen so many independent movies coming up in the film industry, it's like I said, like the quality was so impressive to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so impressive to me that it was just like, that's why I thought it was like a $400,000 movie.
Yeah.
Like
the Da Vinci International Film Festival thought it was a $3 million movie.
Oh, see what I'm saying? Like, and here, I don't know anything about filmmaking.
I didn't tell them that tell them how much it cost till after we won.
Yeah. Well, like here's the thing, man. You guys got the right people for the right moment, like, are there more hats to fill? And maybe,
there's a lot more hats to fill.
You will fill these positions as your company, as you grow in this, you will get your people that you trust and that you want to have there eventually. So like, but I mean, like I remember him being the editor on there. I just forgot the dude's name.
Yeah.
But, so knowing that he did the music and the editing and he acted
and he wrote it.
Yeah.
He was probably the main writer. He did a lot of the typing.
Yeah. I mean, like, kudos to that dude for bringing something to life, right? You know what I mean?
And the crazy part about it too is like Isaac did a phenomenal job, and that's self-evident. But it's not just him that made everything work. Like from makeup to costumes to everything, it all came together because of the talented people that we brought on that, mind you, don't really work in this industry that much. The only one who really has more experience than anybody else on set is myself and Eric Dodson, the DP. Where Eric's been working on ESPN stuff for so long, and he's wanted to break in a narrative. Because he's doing documentaries and all this other stuff, and he knows how to light really well because he has all of that experience, and he's been able to experiment with the lighting and who, what he's lighting for who, and all of this stuff.
Who got you the child kid, the child actor?
So we have Andrew was our casting director.
He did a great job.
He did a phenomenal job. Yeah.
Man,
phenomenal job. Yeah. And he was very useful because we originally weren't using him, and then he asked to be a part of the project. And I've actually worked on a few shows with him being the casting director, and he's great. But he expanded what we were able to go get. Yeah. Right. Like we had people from internationally reaching out to us and sending in auditions and stuff like that. We probably had 1,000 auditions in total. You know, we had certain characters that we knew were kind of written for certain people within our group because we've had a really close acting community around us, for better or worse. And you know, those people are very, very talented hidden gems in the industry. And so they wrote with them in mind. And so we didn't have to cast them. But, you know, like Alicia's character, we had to cast her. And, you know, a few other key characters within the story, like Carter, for example, his audition is phenomenal. And Carter, the cop, right, he's not evil in real life at all.
Were you like, I need you to be the Terminator cop the whole day?
Kind of. I mean, that was probably the note, but he even in his audition, like he switched from a really evil dude to thanks for watching, guys. Like he was a super sweet, and in real life he's a super sweet, like deep, genuine person. Like Michael Lowendick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Super nice, genuine dude. He is very similar to him. And they love video games. Like they both love video games.
My gosh. That's amazing.
But those types of characters were found through Andrew. And that's what made the remaining characters that we needed really shine, because he was able to find these people by putting out some sides and all of this stuff on Actors Access and Backstage, and being able to really organize that and sift through a lot of the stuff so we didn't have to watch everybody's, and he kind of like pinpointed and picked out people, and we were able to find, you know, really, really solid people, and we watched probably all of them because we just wanted to make sure we weren't missing anybody. But these were like the top tier of the people that did audition. Like we picked the best, and that came with a lot of hurdles. To pick the best, you know, because Alicia, she's like, we had to go through that visa thing, like to get a child actor. Like that was a lot of, you know, hardship behind that in terms of legal and
so you money flew her there. From Australia to here?
We flew her from LA. She was modeling it. She has a modeling visa. She had a modeling visa. Now she has an acting visa, but at the time she didn't have one. And honestly, there was a point when everybody was like, "Hey, you know, this probably isn't going to work out." And I'm like, "No, it's going to be fine. We're going to have her, like, she's going to be Ava. She is Ava. She's staying. It's going to be fine." And so, you know, because the visa was backdated or something like that through Casey, I don't even know how that all works. But she was legally allowed to be on the project, even though she was not accepted yet or something.
Okay.
Through the first few days of, I don't even know how all of that.
And you said Casey Affleck helped out with all that?
With her stuff,
With her stuff.
Apparently they're friends,
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Wrote a letter and all of that stuff. But
well, thanks to that dude.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
just another
Casey.
Another way to say, you know, hey, that's another way you show us you're a great dude.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. Like he helped with that, but I don't care.
Oh, dude, no one. The 8 people that watch this. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But no, I mean, like, no, but shout out to that dude, like, because, like, seriously, man, when stars align, they do, right? Like when things work. It's for a reason. You know?
And thankfully she was the one that got on the project, because Michael and Isaac were looking at somebody else with a little bit more credits.
Okay.
Right. I didn't think that she was as talented as Alicia's character, as Alicia's performance. But I mean, I'm glad we got Alicia, and not just because she's got, you know, the business aspects of it, because I think she's a very, very, very talented individual who deserves recognition, and I would hire her again in a heartbeat to play anything.
Listen to her vocal, her vocal in the movie. Like you didn't hear an accent other than the American accent that you were supposed to hear and the Southern accent.
Yeah.
That
when she's tricking.
You know, and it's just like, man, to be able to do that. I know people are really good with voices and acting, but it still impresses me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just impresses me.
It's very, I mean, even if you talk to her outside, like it's the same thing with Carter, right? All of these people have their certain personalities outside of their roles, their respective roles, but they kind of engulf and be somebody else, which is what you look for in an actor, somebody who's naturally this person, right? Who's not acting in a sense of like I'm putting on a performance, but in the sense I'm living and breathing this character right now, you know? Whereas like a lot of the auditions we were getting, they were just some of the same, you know, of the same types of, they were themselves just, you know, saying the lines. And like, that's really, you could see that in them. But with everybody that we got, we didn't really get that at all. You know what I mean? Which was a huge, huge benefit to the movie, you know? Yeah.
Man, the stars aligned for you guys big time, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, with your grip and electric department that you guys had, you said you had a Penske truck. You guys just threw everything in a Penske truck? Or?
So basically what happened, the Penske truck was for all of the production, set dressing, and all of that kind of stuff, right? So we rented that out for that. But the grip and electric and everything, that came with its own van, right? And so the deal I made with Eric was to give him a certain lump sum amount to have him handle the grip, camera, and electric department. And then we paid sound separately. But that's basically how it worked, is like I made a lump sum deal to get everybody that, because that's what he was doing.
That initial
at
ESPN.
Push, he's doing a skeleton crew, doing documentaries, basically sit down cinematic interviews for ESPN or whoever. And so he has the ability to do it with the gear that he has. And so since he already had all of the gear and it's already been paid for probably twice over because of the productions he's working on, big commercial stuff, we were able to utilize him and say, hey, this is a certain dollar amount that we can afford. Can you come onto the project and do it this way? Yeah. And he agreed. So that was huge. You know, we wouldn't be here without him either. Yeah. You know, I mean, he had Alexa Mini LF, and that was a requirement from the directors that they wanted. You know what I mean? And the anamorphic lenses that we got, they're from Ukraine or something like that. And it was during like the Ukraine initial conflict that we shot this. And these are the only set of lenses that we could get on this side of the U.S. Yeah. This guy Brandon had them. And we reached out to him. I don't know who I talked to about finding the lenses, but I mean, I found a way to get these lenses that they wanted. Yeah. You know, and so we were able to get all of these little all of these little things, the stars aligning together. And really that's what would make, you know, any producer worthwhile. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but like you have to keep pushing. The reason why I was able to find those things is because I kept pushing until I got the right thing.
A lot of people don't realize what the producer does. Yeah. Like when you have all these different parameters that you have to work for, you have to find a way to puzzle piece them together in order to make your clients, who are the people who you're basically working with and for, make them happy.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Offer on Paramount Plus? It's Al Ruddy. It's about Al Ruddy and how he made The Godfather. Okay. The first Godfather. And I like to think of a producer being like Al Ruddy making The Godfather in The Offer, right? So Al and Coppola, they had a relationship, and I love their relationship, right? Coppola's like, hey, I need this thing. And then Al's like, let me see what I can do. And then if he gets it, great. And it is what it is. That's his job. But if it doesn't, then there's that trust with Coppola to be like, okay, I know you did your best. Yeah. You know, kind of thing. And they had to build to that, to where they're like, okay, you know, there's a lot of argument in that and drama in it. But that's the simplest way I could see that their relationship working together. Yeah. You know, and when Al needs something from Coppola, he's like, hey, I need this. And if Coppola's putting on a fit or something like he was in the show, you know, Al would be like, no, I actually need this. And he'd be like, oh, okay, copy. You know what I mean? So like there's that producer director relationship between those two roles that really help strive that collaborative nature, because
Yeah.
like if there's that trust between those two departments, then anything can really be done.
Yeah.
Because you're both looking out for each other and you're both spearheading this project together. So a lot of people put down the producer and put up the director, like, oh, he sacrificed a lot to be here, but the producer put a lot of his own like political capital or whatever behind making this project happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not really appreciated from the other side at the end of the day, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
I mean, there's drama there, but it is what it is. We're on the new fronts. But that aspect is what makes a good producing and directing relationship.
Yeah.
That trust there that you don't find that often.
Well, it's interesting after working on Electric State, seeing the, above the line and seeing what, if any other movie I ever work on, I'm sure it's not going to be as awesome as the folks that I worked with on Electric State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like above the line wise, the team that they had, you can tell that they worked so hard to chisel that team into where they were. It got to the point where, dude, I mean, me and my buddy Chris, we bought all the producers, basically everybody Nerf guns.
Really?
All the way down to the production assistants. We bought everybody. We bought everybody Nerf guns, and like some of these people thought, like, oh, Joe and Anthony or whatever, they're buying it. And it's like, no, we bought this stuff for you guys, and it's because when you come into the producer base camp, you got to watch your back now.
Yeah,
they're like, what? And there was this one dude. Oh my gosh, Ian. He was the second AD. He was an assassin, dude. He would he would get us, and he would not only just, when I say us, there's like 3 people. He would get 3 people before he's even noticed where he's at.
Yeah,
but he's in front of you.
That's crazy. He's tactical about it.
Yeah, extremely tactical about it. And I got to tell you, like working with that crew, you're not going to find that crew again unless you work with that crew again.
Yeah.
And that's why Landon's crew is so...
Yeah. Well, that's also why, like, with the company that I want to create, right, is I want to hire people full-time on salary. Right. I want them to be able to go home to their, wife and kids and have, a life outside of work and then also have vacation. Right. So imagine being paid full-time salary. You're coming in, and if we're not working on a show, we're prepping a show, or we're, in post-production, so we're developing technology or something like that, or just a more efficient way to work when we're working production. But we're working 9 months out of the year, and then it's 3 months you're on vacation and you're on salary for the entire year. Like, who wouldn't take that gig over in the industry? I think that guaranteed work. The money is the same, if not a little better. You get probably better benefits, if not very similar benefits.
Yeah.
There's a lot of aspects to it that I want to make it worthwhile, and the incentives to be there to where somebody would want to be on those projects, because you also get that 10% piece still. You're in one of those tiers, and you're getting paid salary, right? So if the movie does well, you're incentivized better to work within that company.
How would you not bottleneck yourself though? Because let's say this comes about.
I have 101 different feature films, probably 72 different TV shows on my own, which I call the story arsenal.
Okay.
Right. And so all of these things would be made over the course of my life into another life,
Sure. Yeah.
And then I would have a story team on staff that would be on staff and either creating original ideas or writing the next episode or season to a show or whatever. And if we're not filming it or doing it ourselves, producing it ourselves, we're selling that IP.
Yeah.
And that story team, gets a piece of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different
Because I think that, once people get a taste of you, right, then they're going to want a piece of you, meaning like, I have this project, I'm going to go after Tazi, and here's a number that he's just not going to be able to refuse. In order for this project to work, we need, Tazi's fingers on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to get to that point, and you're going to have to start looking at those opportunities or those moments to sit there and say, okay, well, not only am I doing my own stuff now, but I
Yeah.
have people approaching me to do
Do
their
other
stuff.
stuff. Yeah. Well, I guess the deal would just depend on if I'm working within my own structure, because I don't want to work within somebody else's structure. You know, I've been planning this since I was 12.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to, you know, cave for a few extra millions of dollars or whatever
Sure,
it is.
sure.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I think the world in which, you know, we have a deal with a distributor so we can sell theatrical and you know, go to streaming after a certain time period that I decide, you know what I mean? Like there is a lot of it that that I have thought about over the course of these years that I think would keep me safe from, you know, getting approached by somebody like that, you know, that would want to just either buy out the company outright or, you know, to dilute competition or whatever. Like, I just wouldn't take it, to be completely honest. I don't want to be a public company. I want to be a private company that runs this, but runs it morally and right, you know. And it's a very ambitious project, but that's why it hasn't been made yet, is because nobody wants to take that risk on that, because there's a lot of competition around it. But I think Prime, like right now, I mean, look at Atlanta. Yeah. There's rarely anything happening here anymore. The only people who are really working is people over at Assembly, you know, constantly, that is. And I mean, I went and toured these stages over by some shipping yard, like the department, bunch of semi trucks come in there. I don't know what that's called, like a shipping yard. And I asked them if I could buy them, and they said, yeah, for $10 million, like, I'll sell it to you right now. I want it off my hands, you know, because there's a lot of infrastructure that has been built here that's not being utilized, and it's just sitting there collecting dust. Yeah. But you know, these are 20,000 square foot stages.
Yeah. Was that like OFS or something, or
no? It wasn't OFS. It was an old military base. By a bunch of depots, shipping depots. The Lionsgate one too, over in Douglasville.
That's gone, right?
It's still there, but nobody's working there.
I heard they're shutting it down to turn it into a data center.
Well, that's another thing too that's happening a lot. Like Trilith is considering doing that. Probably can't say that out loud, but I was at Trilith for a year. We had, you know, I had friends who had offices there, and they, you know, they're considering the same thing. You know, turning some of the stages that because they have the most stages in the entire world, but there's nobody working there right now. Yeah. And so they're turning some of theirs into data centers too.
Yeah. I think Superman is there right now. I think Superman's opening the doors to some of the offices right now.
Well, I mean, that would be a very interesting thing to hear, because I heard they weren't going to do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, oh wow.
I don't know how public all of this information is, but I'm pretty close into it.
I'm talking out of my butt right now. Just hearsay, folks. Comment down below. Is it staying or going?
I know for a matter of fact that James Gunn wants to work there.
Yeah.
He loves the town there. Yeah. He likes Enzo's. That's where I met him. Like, he wants to work there. But the other half of DC doesn't want to work there because Trilith isn't working within their price structure. Yeah. Right? They were going to rent out, and I know this is true, so I'll just say it anyway. I don't know if it's public, but I don't, you know. Yeah. Like I said, like all of these people don't, I'm trying to do my own thing, so whatever. Yeah. They were trying to rent out 3 stages for Superman art design, like, you know, sets and stuff like that, so that they can do the movie and all of the stuff and come back for Superman 2. Well, they wanted a reduced price on these stages that nobody was using, and Trilla said no, they want full rate. And so, you know, they've kicked out a lot of people from Home Depot used to be there, like, you know, Chapman used to be there. Now they're up in Alpharetta. Like, they had a lot of vendors there, and now the only one that's really left is, you know, I think Herc is still there. They have porta potties there. They have MBS is obviously still there because they're really connected in that, and you have to use MBS when you work at Trilith, which is another issue to some extent, and sometimes it's a benefit. But you know, like, there's, you know, smaller vendors there still. But
is Rag Place still there too, or they left too? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody left. Yeah, and they've priced everybody out. You know, my friends had a company there. And they work in the LED space and the volume stages, not at the ones that the stage 23 or the big
with
LED
the
volume.
LED,
That's somebody else now, but they had their own company that did visual effects and a smaller LED volume and stuff. And they had left because they had, within a month they had raised their prices another $5,000. And then when the industry is super slow like that, like you can't afford that as a company to just jump from December to January another $5,000, and there's nobody working at this stage in the first place.
Yeah,
and so they've priced a lot of their vendors out for what I don't know, but
maybe it's so they could sell the property because like they're investors in that property. Maybe they're saying, hey, look, they're not filming here. They're not filming here. And the investors aren't looking at the rate which they raised.
Well, I do know that this city of Fayette County, they made $70 million off of that data center that's off of 54 right now. This county itself made $70 million. So they're looking at that. And I mean, Disney was supposed to be up at Trilith. Like they were supposed to put up a corporate office.
Yeah.
There's talks of F1 tracks being built there, and they have USA Soccer there now. And
USA Soccer is the big thing that's happening.
That's a big thing happening right now. Yeah. For the Olympics, really.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But like there's talks of expansion outside of film and television, which is kind of sad because, there was supposed to be another deal with Marvel that was supposed to happen when the 10 years was up. That never happened because Pinewood wasn't involved anymore, and Marvel is really connected with Pinewood, and that's who built those with the Cathy family. So there's a lot of aspects to that is pushing it away from film and television, which is very sad. But
everybody thinks Dan Cathy has a big hand in all that, and it really isn't true, right? Because it's like the three different parts of the company.
So Dan is really involved with the town aspect of it. And Trilith Live was just put up, which is that multi-use building. Yeah, that has a church there, a movie theater, and some other things. But there's a lot of reasons why I could say that they built a lot of that wrong, in terms of like that should have been an AMC theater. If anything, something with a name, they should put an Apple store in there, like a Trader Joe's in the town, like because the only Apple store nearby is in Lenox, that's the closest one. So if they put an Apple store at Trilith, like that would be huge. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it, right? The parking situation's a pain in the butt. It's horrible. They put a hotel there. They're talking about doing another one, and they might have approved it already. But they have all of these things that are in the town, but they're really niche brands and nothing recognizable with the town aspect of it. And then as well with the Trilith studio side, they're just not running the company well, if that makes sense. Dan is involved to a very small extent with the studio side, but I mean, the prices are really, really high for what you can go to a warehouse and shoot Captain Marvel because that's what they did.
On the apron, it's like $70 a day for a parking spot for a golf cart. Yeah. That's what I heard. Something like crazy like that.
Yeah, that sounds nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. How many golf carts and cars and, all the different trailers that you need on that apron?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cast trailer.
Yeah. But I wouldn't even pay for that. As a producer, I would never touch any of that. I'd rather rent a warehouse, and shoot Captain Marvel out of it. Because that's literally what they did down the street instead of shooting Captain Marvel. This is during the 10 years that, all of this with, from Iron Man to Endgame, they're shooting a lot of these shows at Trilith. Well, the producers of Captain Marvel thought, well, it's too expensive to shoot at Trilith, right? So we're going to, which was Pinewood at the time, we're going to go shoot at, I'm pretty sure it was Pinewood at the time. I don't know when they actually made the break and rebranded, but we're going to go shoot at a warehouse down the road. They're still going to use MBS and still going to have, because they have partners with MBS as Marvel and all this other stuff, they're still going to use the assets that Trilith provides, but they're not going to shoot on the stages because the rental is just way too expensive. The volume stage was $100,000 a day.
Wow.
Now it's $80,000 a day. It's still too expensive.
Yeah.
And they might have cut it down even now to $50,000 a day, but there's nothing happening over there. And then when you go in there, the technology is so new that there's all these problems coming up that you have to call my buddies from the other LED volume to fix it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of insider information there for him. But
well, no, I mean like technology plays a huge role in what we do for film.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why AI is a big deal. I mean, so many different projects that I've seen just on YouTube, and I watch their trailers.
Yeah.
I mean, take for instance, the He-Man, Masters of the Universe movie that came out.
Yeah.
Or is coming out.
Yeah,
I watched the trailer and I was like, man, this feels like I can't watch it because like it's not a cartoon and it's not a movie. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it has this weird in between where it just makes me uncomfortable. My eyes hurt and, you know, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
You know, and then let alone like their storyline where he's in modern day, like, and going back into a different universe. Like, man, like I feel like, there's going to be a divide where there's going to be those animated movies that we like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unfortunately, James Cameron is not going to be able to make every movie that's out there. You know, so like, you know, you're not going to get his eye, his touch, his feel on his AI generation movies, you know, so there's going to be a bunch of other movies out there that aren't going to hit the mark. And it's just, I don't want to say be a waste of time, but it's not going to hit the mark. And you're going to divide the people watching these movies into, oh, I only watch these kind of movies. And this person's going to be like, I only watch these kind of movies.
Yeah. Yeah. But everybody has those requirements for them to consume a film or television show. And I think in reality, you can never really pinpoint, you know, the algorithm to say they're going to watch this or that. You can get really, really close, but at the end of the day, it's whether or not they turn it on, you know? So like everybody has all of these different algorithms, and I just don't think it really matters that much. Like, just make what you want to make. And then if people watch it, great. If not, then great. But with the structure that I've put together, like there's room for failure to where you've budgeted out, you know, $100 million to start, you know, to put everybody that you want on salary, and then kind of sift through who you want to stay and who doesn't want to stay and all of that stuff. And then you're able to experiment over the course of, say, 10 years to really try something different. And it's kind of going back to the old Hollywood type of way where the ownership is with all of them, right? Because now I'm not going to get screwed over by my rental company because I own all the gear. Yeah, you know what I mean, or whatever the case is. You know, there's maintenance costs to a lot of that stuff. But I mean, if you look at Tyler Perry's structure, he's got most of his gear is owned by him, by his company, and he had you know, big heavy machinery at one point, but the maintenance cost was too high, so he got rid of that and partnered with somebody like Herc or somebody like that that owns and operates and does all of the maintenance on it to where it's viable for him to do that, right? Whereas like with me, I want to own and operate everything and figure out how to make it work. Yeah. You know, like I want to try at least before I fail and then reassess and look at the situation, kind of similar to him, but you know, in my way, I'm not shooting as much as he's shooting. He's shooting, you know, 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, and going in and having rotating crews and all of this other stuff.
Once you get so big, the monster gets hungry though, and you need to feed it, or else you start to have to gnaw off this hand, and then maybe the arm.
There's something to say about exclusivity though. Like there's something to say like there's an appreciation in waiting. You know, like GTA 6, for example, we'll probably never get that. But if it came out a few years before, you know, before today, then it would have been appreciated, you know. But now it's growing so big. There's so much hype and expectation around it, you know, because there's so much going into it that when it comes out, I don't know if everybody's really going to be interested anymore, you know. So I think really, like, if I'm doing 2 movies in a year and then I'm doing a show, like if I'm shooting a full season and 2 movies a year, then I can feed the beast pretty easily and have a steady diet, if you will. Instead of like, you know, and these 2 movies are going to take, you know, 40 days to shoot each, you know, and because I'm only shooting 8 hours a day, but I have the time in my schedule to shoot however long I need to shoot. Yeah. And I'm not overpaying anybody or, you know, paying overtime because everybody already has a really big salary for the year, and they are working for 8 hours a day, you know, or whatever it is, because I've scheduled out the entire year. I find that, I mean, I hope that that's like
an attainable thing, because I would like to see how that like works and see what goes on with competitors out there. For instance, like one of your competitors would be Tyler Perry. Now, Tyler Perry, he just basically cut the tail off of his monster. He was about to do a 900 million, or I forget, like, or $1 billion addition to his property. And then once all the AI stuff got figured out and all the contracts were signed during 2023, he just said, no, I'm not doing it. So he like I said, like cut the tail off his monster.
Yeah.
And Cat Williams, he's in Alabama right now. He has an old military base that he was retrofitting into a studio.
Yeah.
And he was about to kind of go the Tyler Perry route, but I don't hear anything about his studio anymore.
Well, I think with AI, I'm kind of uniquely positioned. I was talking to this about another buddy who also wants to do something similar, but just stages. We're going, by the time I'm getting started, like actually have the first initial investment in, by the time that's all redlined and figured out and everything, and like the first day of the year starts for my company, all of that stuff is going to be figured out. Whether or not the audience is going to reject AI is really what really matters.
See, I don't even think
people are going to watch it.
Yeah, I don't think AI is going to be a huge pill to swallow in future projects, because it's not going to write scripts for people.
I don't think it should. Yeah,
but I don't think it's going to be able to.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, I think it's a soulless endeavor.
Yeah.
To me, and I think that what makes making movies special is that humans are doing it.
Yeah.
And I think the value of AI comes in the tools that it can create, like the accounting tools to find errors. Tools and just making stuff more expedient in post-production is very useful. But you can get dangerous with that, because I mean, if you look at The Brutalist, there's a very fine line that you don't want to cross, because The Brutalist won an Oscar, but they had AI kind of support and enhance, if you will, Adrian Brody and other actors in the movie, their accents. And so now it's not even Adrian Brody talking anymore. Now it's a generated version of Adrian Brody's tone and voice, where it's like the audience, not just the industry, but I mean, that's a very important distinction, right? If it's the industry that's rejecting it, because they're always going to reject it, it's their jobs, but it's the audience.
Yeah.
Right. So the audience is rejecting it. The next generation doesn't really care about AI as much as, we like to see on social media, because we're on it all the time and seeing all of these different tools come up that are really cool.
Yeah.
Right. But like my brothers are all younger than me, and they don't deal with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't even on social media that much anymore. Like,
it's kind of faux pas to be on social media, I think, with the younger crowd, like the 21-year-old.
Like, go touch grass kind of mentality, and like get off your phone, like they're actually listening to that, and doing that more than any other generation before them. Yeah. Because we've always been about technology, and they're like, I want to go back to the way it was, where, I went to the movies with my friends. Like, my brother, I'm a filmmaker, but my brother really doesn't know much about what I actually do or anything. He thought this was really cool, but he doesn't really know the shows that I've worked on or any of that kind of stuff. So he's not going to the movies because he wants to like support me and my art. He doesn't really care about that. He's going to the movies because he wants to hang out with his friends and watch an experience. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And like get out there in the world, and find love and all of it. I mean, he's engaged now, but like he wants to experience life for what life is, not for what the phone tells you life is,
Man.
Which is like a lot of his friends. I mean, and this is a very, niche group of people, I would say, in the broader scheme of that generation. But I think that echoes throughout that generation as well, where you're seeing that in a lot of pockets of the country. People are just getting off of it,
Well, I think that they're coming to the point where when you like digest so much junk food, you naturally stop after so much, because you're like, I just can't take anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that might be what's happening with a lot of younger folks now.
Yeah.
You're young yourself. Like, I'm 46 years old, And to remember back what I was doing when I was 25, 27, 30 years old, it's just like, it's completely different. If you would have said, Bob, you'd be having 2 kids and a wife and, you know, a podcast, I would be like, you are on drugs. You know what I mean? But,
might have been then too.
Yeah. You know, like, so it's like, I sit there and think to myself, like, nobody really knows what's going to happen or where it's going to come.
Yeah.
So you never sell yourself short and always go after with what you want. Yeah. You know, I try to tell these younger people that come into the film industry and they're like, I want to be a cameraman. Like, all right, well then go to camera. I don't know how. I don't know anybody in camera. Yeah. Well, it's like, well, don't you dare even think about being a plasterer just because they're going to hire you to be, you know, in the film industry. You go stand in front of Panavision for a month straight. Let them know with a sign that's, I will work for good advice, you know, something crazy. Yeah. You know, like, don't give up on that because you're going to find yourself being a coordinator as a, you know, carpenter or something when you really wanted to be a cameraman. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because with all of this AI stuff and things like that, where, you know, we look at like work ethic and stuff, like it takes a lot to make a movie. And you look at somebody like Apple, you know, they just recreated their Apple logo practically. That wasn't AI generated. I don't know if you've seen the Apple logo kind of. Well, I know the Apple's having a really big push right now with not using AI to make commercials. Yeah. Have you seen any of those commercials? Yeah. And they're like showing you. So I wonder, like, are you saying their new Apple logo?
Their new Apple logo is practically made. It's not generated through CGI or any AI enhancement or anything like that. Yeah. It's filmed through a camera lens, and you could watch all the BTS online. But like watching that is like really more inspiring to me. And they're almost $1 trillion company, you know, and they're still making stuff practically.
You hear that, Coca-Cola?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but that's the thing too, right? Is like you watch these Coca-Cola commercials and you're like, what is this? This is weird. Yeah. You know, like it just doesn't feel real because it's not. Like it's all soulless.
Pay an animator to draw it, you bastards.
Yeah,
like, come on. Yeah. There's so many good animators here in Atlanta. Oh, yeah. You know, like you could have somebody animate it, make a cartoon, and then you can clean it up or whatever. But like, come on.
Yeah. Like, and it's not that difficult, to be honest.
No,
and it's not like
not
they
expensive.
Don't have the money for it either.
Yeah.
Right. They're in every AMC everywhere.
My gosh. But yeah, I saw a little thing about Apple, how they are trying to basically do ads with no AI, all film, like old school, like not even, like some of them were not even doing digital. Yeah. They were actually using film. It's like, you know, okay, so you guys are being the Foo Fighters and working on an Eve board and you're going analog again. Yeah. This is great. Yeah. I love hearing about that. Yeah.
I mean, it's very inspiring because, I mean, you think about the old Windows logo and how that was shot through like a cardboard piece, you know, that light, you know, shining through. And that's like what I want. Those are the things that I want to do. Right. Yeah. So like in the stages, just to kind of explain a little bit more about how the infrastructure of the company would be actually on the ground when we break ground, is there will be 4 stages, and one of them will be volume, commercial, music video kind of stage, and that will run 24, all throughout the year. Yeah. Right. That will be 365. That will be the like where anybody wants to make commercials, like do stuff like that. So like I really love those kinds of practical effects, even on the smaller scale where like, yeah, this is just a intro to the Apple logo or whatever, but those are very special in terms of like being able to have a space to create those types of things. That is what that is for. You know, like if you look at a lot of music videos, you know, there's a lot of music videos out there that use a lot of effects and stuff like that in post-production, and those are cool. But like the ones that really get me are the ones that do everything like, really
Okay
in camera.
Go.
Yeah.
You know Okay Go?
I'm agreeing with you to tell me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay Go.
Okay. So okay, I wish I could show their music videos here, but they don't do any digital anything. Everything that they do, it's they might shoot digitally, but everything that they do is process.
Gotcha.
So whatever, for instance, they have a shot, it's in real life, it's 28 seconds, but they slow it down to their song. So it's like they pop a balloon with paint in it and they spin the camera around. And in slow motion, it picks everything and everyone's doing something and they're singing.
Yeah.
So they taught themselves how to mouth in 28 seconds.
Yeah.
Like their voice and whatever. So when it slows down, it looks like they're singing.
Yeah. Yeah. That is amazing to me. See, like process like that. That's the innovation that I think we actually need in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like the AI stuff, that's going to happen regardless. Disney spent tons of money on making that stuff happen. But nobody's really talking about that, the process side of making something practically that is in camera, you know, that can make a really cool effect or, you know, tell this certain emotion or give you this certain tone or whatever. That stuff excites me. And that's why I want a whole dedicated stage to that. And then the other three would be catered towards the televisions and, you know, all the other stuff.
I'm going to predict something. I don't ever do this, but for some reason I feel compelled to say this.
Okay.
So I predict that your company in 10 years from now, you're going to be making a full, like what we would consider analog, but full process movie. And because of the way it's going to be 10 years from now, there's going to be an awakening off of one of your projects.
I really hope so. Yeah.
I don't know why. You heard it here first, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. But no, I feel like that. If you have this, if you're looking at things that way, it's very, very possible 10 years from now, you're going to get some new baby that's, I don't know, 14 years old. And he like, what is this? It's like whatever movie it is for you. And it's just like, this feels different. Yeah. I know I'm looking at it, but it feels different. Yeah. It tastes different in my ears. Yeah. You know, and
it's that experience. Yeah. Right? Like you get to experience that with us in terms of like we're able to create things that are real and raw. And we have AI tools here and there to help us with accounting and other minute things that, you know, would save on those things. You know, accountants are a dime a dozen, you know, like, but the process of the actual product that we're making is completely generated by humans. Yep. And human technology in terms of like nothing's artificially made. I think that is something that people are going to aspire to want to be doing and want to consume themselves. Yeah. Right. And worst case scenario, none of that happens. Right. Yeah. All of my ideas fail. Okay. Let's just thought experiment. Okay. Okay. The worst case that I could see happening is just like the cars and the horses, right? There's not as many horses anymore, so I'm in the horses category, but I am for the expensive side. You know, like everybody had horses back in the day. It was really cheap to own and operate horses. Nowadays, it's very expensive to own and operate horses, and everybody's got a car, you know, because we've industrialized, right? And so even if all else fails, I'll be the most expensive option, which I'm fine with as long as I'm creating a profit. Yeah. You know, I'm a public company. Yeah. You know, I'm not worried about stockholders and what their opinions are and all of these other things. I'm selling and making enough, say 20% return on whatever I'm investing in. You know, I think that's still a very viable option for that model that I've created. Yeah. You know,
did you think about with your model how much things might cost 5 years from now, considering the way our dollar keeps shrinking?
I think the technology will keep getting better to where it will be cheaper. Yeah. Like I would shoot everything on a $10,000 camera right now. The DJI Ronin 4D. Yeah. I could get dolly shots with that, you know, just by standing up. Like I could go to gimbal. I could go straight onto a tripod and get still shots. Like I can do a lot with just that one camera. Yeah. That is, you know, has a really high depth of field and looks great, you know, and it has a raw format and all of the things. Like I can still get a phenomenal, and people are like in movies are using, like it was used on F1, it was used on Civil War. Like it's a very prominent camera, and it's growing in prominence over, you know, the industry. That, you know, everybody thought it was a joke. It looks like a chicken head camera, but the technology is very useful. It uses LiDAR focusing and all of these other things that, like, I think technology is only going to get better, like it's always had, or it's always has, whatever the term is. But it will be. I'll be able to make things for cheaper in 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to like the financial side of it, like the dollar shrinking and all of it, I don't know much about any of that.
Yeah.
That stuff. That's what the accountants are for. But
Sure.
I think it's still going to be a viable option. I don't think we'll ever lose media. Like film and television, I think, is always going to be a very important aspect of culture, and sharing culture and all of those things. So even if I'm not doing it here, I'll do it wherever. Like, I'm from California. I moved here to do it. I'll move again to do it. I don't really care where I do it at, but so geographically, it doesn't matter. I'd love to stay inside the U.S. because that's where family is and friends. But I'm okay with moving outside of the country if that's what it takes to make this thing happen. But at the same time, I want to sell to this country. I want to sell to the globe. Like, I don't have like the distribution plan is a global distribution plan. It's not just like a domestic plan. Like, Jack and Ava is only available domestically, and it's because it's very difficult to break into the international market, for an indie film specifically. But that would like 10x our margins on our profits on the film. It's just very difficult to find somebody willing to do that, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That barrier of entry again.
Yeah. Well, dude, I find you completely fascinating, bro.
Thank you.
I mean, like, I feel like with already Jack and Ava, it's already a small, like, slice of what we might have for dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're able to do that for $150,000, can't wait to see when you get more money.
Yeah.
And your ethic and the way you want things to work, it really feels like you're going to be, I want to say, humanistic about it, right?
Yeah.
You're caring for other people.
Yeah.
I saw that with, the Russo brothers and the way that they ran their camp.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, nothing else feels better. You know what I mean? When they're doing well, I felt like everybody felt like they were doing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're
people are what make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't make Jack and Ava alone. I can't make them, the cleaners alone. Like, I have to bring people in that I can trust, that are good people that I can work well with, and they can work well with each other to make something happen.
I'm so excited for you, bro.
Thanks,
I feel so much excitement. I'm like, I just can't wait to see Cleaners, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, because, like, dude, with you keep surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And sometimes the right people come and go too. So, like, I'm sure if somebody comes in your camp and then leaves your camp, it's not weird, because, like, just like with the Gripolotopus crew, it's not a revolving door, but people come and go out of that camp.
Yeah.
And they're all great dudes and great
all
people, great girls too. There's girls in Gripolotopus too.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you're on your project, man, I hope shit aligns and goes your way so much, because I'm rooting for you,
and sometimes you got to force it that way. You got to force it down the right path. I could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
All of this stuff. But I think, it's just the people that you bring around. The biggest thing that I learned on Jack and Ava is really being careful with who you work with, because there was a lot of drama on that project.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of drama and tea that I could spill, but I won't spill just because I feel like we're closing. But it's one of those things where, like, you have to be careful with who you work with, especially on your first one, even though you can get the product that you want. At the end of the day, like, this is a product that I want to some regards, some respect, and that matters from the point of view is you're able to start. You know what I mean? Because now I can show people what the production quality that I'm, capable of.
Yeah.
And the next one, I'm just going to take all that I've learned and put it in the next one. Yeah. So
that's really cool. But, dude, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thanks
really,
for having me, Bob. I appreciate
I'll
it.
have you on
Genuinely.
again, dude.
Yeah, I'd love to.
We can even do a series of, like, spill the tea, or we could do a series of maybe, like, what you're interested in as far as movies, and we could break some of the things down that you're hoping to maybe do in your own films or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I'm making a documentary right now about Jack and Ava. We shot a lot of BTS for it. So there's 2 projects in one with the idea for Jack and Ava, and I'm raising money for the documentary now. So that should hopefully be shot by next month. I'd love to come and talk about the documentary after we're done shooting.
Yeah. And I'm going to link the trailer to this movie. And if I can, I'll put the trailer in the video.
Yeah.
So someone could, you could actually see the trailer at the end of the video.
Yeah. I'll send you it.
Yeah. And that way, when we close out the show, it'll go straight to the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
I'm going to have you on again.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody out there, please like, subscribe. You can buy this on Amazon, and it's like $14 on Amazon.
Amazon, Apple TV, Fandango, YouTube, Movies and TV, the Play Store.
And you can rent it to watch for like $2.99 or $3.99.
Super cheap.
I bought my copy, dude. I was like, it's going on the frickin' bookshelf over here.
We make more money on Apple TV, so if you can buy it on Apple TV, if you have an iPhone, that's where we make more money.
Okay, so buy it on Apple TV. Everybody, if you want to know more about Tazi, I'll have links in the description down below where you can get to know him a little more on any kind of social media.
I'm mainly on Instagram, so if somebody wants to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Tazi Starfire as my Instagram handle.
Yes. So there you go, guys. And we'll get to know more about Tazi the next time he's on. Everybody, you guys have a good night. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Peace.
Awesome, dude.
Great.
Is this your dad? Promise you I'm gonna get you out.
Afternoon, boys. Can I join the party? Baby, breathe.
Oh, he's looking at the truck bed. He's looking in the... What's back there? Landscaping tools.
Hey, look. No, I need your help, man. I just got robbed blind. I just got straight up robbed. Some skinny kid with tattoos, some pretty girl. Get in the truck. How in the hell did kids even get involved in selling illegal firearms?
This ain't right. You're not making this easier for anybody. Do you have a better plan?
It's crazy how fast time just goes away.
These guys are gonna get their money, and they're not gonna stop until we're dead.
Are we doing this?
Look, Jack, we need to just give away the money and we need to go, man. This is it for us. This is our solution. We're not leaving our home. This is my home too, man. You are done.
You're all I have. You are all I have.
I can't lose you.